Usually, the grossest stuff has to do with people just not understanding their bodies yet.
That just comes with the territory when you're having sex. If you're gonna fuck someone in the butt, you shouldn't expect to not find poop. Like, that's where it's poop's house. You know, if you came into my house and you're like, James, what are you doing here? I'd be like, you're in my house. What are you doing here?
I mean, I've heard a lot of the shitting on the dick stories. I've heard quite a few of those. I've been on set like where girls have like pooped on guys and stuff.
And then there's always the lost makeup sponge. People who aren't in porn, when a girl is on her period, you can put a makeup sponge up into the vagina and it'll stop blood from coming out, but it's not seen like a tampon or something, you know. So then you can carry on with the scene without worrying about blood. And sometimes girls forget that they put a makeup sponge up in their vaginas, and then their vagina smells something like a corpse, like a rotting corpse. And they don't understand why, and then they have to go to a doctor, and a doctor will take, you know, like, and some skewers and like pull this like little corpse out of their vagina.
There's a couple of things, both involve women's assholes. Even though I love women's assholes, these particular times, they were not so lovely. I had this girl, she was in kind of a pile driver position, and I was fucking her with the dildo and my face was like this. So I'm going like this, and then I pull it out and I start to see something bubbling up, so I go back real quick and it just like explodes like a volcano. It's really fucking disgusting. It was like that close to my face.
I did this lesbian bukkake thing, and there were about 13 girls, and I'm sorry to give this away, but the bukkake scene was like, if you couldn't squirt, or you couldn't like pee, they would they would push water up into you, and you would hold it, and then they would pause and go, and then say go, and then you just kind of like flick your clit, make it go everywhere. So there was one girl who went with that option. And when they let it go, a tampon flew out of her face, or out of her pussy, and hit the girl in the face. And it was pretty gross. Poor girl was mortified, obviously, but fuck, that was hilarious.
It was an anal scene with another female and a great male performer, and we were in a position where he was fucking her in the ass, and I was licking her pussy, and he goes, and so my head's up like this, and we're laying on the bed, and he pulls his dick out, and yes, it happened. Shit just comes down on my face, and I'm like, in my hair, and I'm like, oh lordy, and this is the first position. And as you all know, we have several more positions to do, and because I am a true trooper, and I wanted to get paid that day, and I wanted to have a good scene, I'm like, okay, honey, it's okay. I ran to the bathroom, just washed the shit out of my hair. Go back, honey, it's okay. Don't be embarrassed. It happens to everyone. And we continue. And she did it one more time, but not on me. But we did continue, and we did finish it. And it did get nominated, but it did not win. But it did get nominated.
I have a friend who was doing a scene with a woman, and it was her first scene. And she didn't really know much about porn, and she didn't know that she could reschedule if she got sick. So the climax of the scene was this girl having a really fierce orgasm, which just pushed all of her yeast infection onto the other girl's face. It wasn't a good day for anyone.
I heard that there was a girl on set with a guy that used a sponge because she was on her period. And I guess she forgot that it was in there because she was shooting with the same group of people 3 days later. And the guy said that she smelled so foul that he didn't even want to have sex with her. Come to find out, it was the same sponge that they had put in 3 cream pies ago, 3 days ago.
Another porn star, she told me about this story. She was on set, And apparently this girl, she washed and was clean, but there was a horrible smell coming from her private area. And they kept trying to shoot, and everyone in the room was like, oh dear God, what is wrong with you, girl? And finally it dawned on this girl that like 2 weeks before she had done a shoot and she had to use a sponge, and she had forgotten it in there for like a couple weeks, and it was still lodged up inside of her, and that was where the horrific smell was coming from. So that's the worst story I've ever heard.
It was Czech Republic with Charity, who directed for Legend, and he was like one of those directors who always shot the scenes with a stopwatch, and it's like he was exactly, okay, you're gonna fuck the girl exactly 18 minutes into her pussy, and then after 18 minutes he screams out and says, go fuck that bitch's ass, you know, or something like that. You hear him like you know, like the small guy, you know, and sitting in the corner screaming out, they fuck her ass now, you know. And so I did, and I worked with this taller, blonde Czech woman. She was a little bit heavy but very nice, you know, and so we start, 18 minutes pass, it's like, oh fuck her ass, and I was in reverse cowgirl, you know, and I put the cock in the ass, I start fucking, I'm like, man, that feels good, it's nice, lubricated and everything, you know, it's gonna be a great fucking day, you know. And then Cherry screams out after 2-3 minutes like, so now make Kukmar, you know? Like, I don't know, he's American, he speaks German, but whatever, you know? So Kukmar Wars is basically in reverse cowgirl, you lift her legs back, spread the asses open, so that the camera can look into the asshole, you know? And like I did that, you know? I lifted up and boom, you know, like a whole soup, you know, like it was like vegetable goulash soup, you know, like it was just like running down, you know. I was literally it was a white couch, I was brown from waist up down to the feet of the floor, the couch everywhere. I look around, no Charity around, no cameraman around, they were already running down to the balcony, you know. I was just like, it's okay, it can happen, you know. It was smelling so bad. She went in the bathroom, you know, she cleaned her ass, you know. I was like, okay, I gotta take a shower now, you know. So I go in the bathroom too, you know, I take a shower, rinse it off, and we still had to shoot 16 minutes. We did it, you know. I don't know how I did it that day, but yeah, you can literally say it was a shitty day.
I was shooting with another girl and her asshole wouldn't stop bleeding, so then she put Vaseline in it.
So it's Rocco and Ashley Fires fucking, and it was the most awe-inspiring thing I've ever seen. I don't know if dudes will ever be able to understand what this is like, but bitches get cum drunk. You can fuck a girl so well, she can't remember her name, she can't walk, she's on the floor twitching, she's drooling, like she's gone. She is dick drunk. And Ashley Fires gets dick drunk. She is fucking toasted, right? She's gone. She's fucking Rocco. And if you've ever had sex with Rocco, he puts his dick in and then your brains go right out. And that whole like acting porny, no, you just hold him to a wall and try and survive while Rocco does his best to kill you with his dick. So I'm waiting to enter the scene and Ashley is just gone, toasted. And Rocco calls me over. And he looks me right in the eye and he starts to shove his fingers down my throat. And he says, I want you to vomit all over her face. And shoves his fingers down my throat. I vomit bagel and apple juice all over Ashley Fires' face. And they're like, cut, we need a towel. Why'd you puke on her? And Ashley's looking up at me and she's got a bit of bagel in her false eyelash. And my vomit has just cut a track through her makeup. And she's grinning, totally drunk, just off dick, pulls me down, grabs me and starts making out with me. And she's like, I just ate your puke. Now, as it turns out, Rocco doesn't speak English very well and he meant to say spit. I want you to spit all over her face, but he said vomit. So I did puke on her. She was very nice about it, and I was very apologetic.
A performer doing anal with a girl, and okay, you're supposed to obviously do a process of cleansing out your body properly, and she did her everything, but she used a solution instead of using water for her colon cleanse. and everything like that, and her enema. And, you know, she pooped all over on him like 2 different times, and he went, washed his penis off, came back, started shooting the scene again. She pooped on him again. He went, washed his penis. It happened like 3 or 4 times, so I'm not gonna say any names, but I feel really bad for that person, but it's pretty horrible.
Back in the day, Jim Lane used to do these like squirt bukkakis where these girls would just, there'd be one main girl getting squirted on, and so many girls can't squirt, so they fake it. So they would put like douche water in their pussy and then like hold it and then come and just splash it down on the girls, right? And so there was one time where this girl pushed so hard she shit like on the table. I mean, that happens actually a lot with girls that are like trying to squirt. They usually shit themselves.